Well, you thought it could never happen to you. You're a good person, you work hard, you try to do the right thing, but you find out now that you're a good person that's going through a bad time financially, and that includes trouble with the IRS.
Yeah, if we just described you, stop, take a deep breath, and don't make a move trying to fix your financial problems, especially when they involve the IRS. Until you hear from our next guest, she's a lady of the law, Emery. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here again.
Absolutely. Always good to have you guys here. We get a lot of, good information from you.
Great.
But it's got to be frightening if the IRS is coming after you, and I'm sure it's even worse when you can't pay what they're telling you need to pay.
That's exactly right. And the IRS is not to be trifled with. There are creditors who will go away sometimes, leave you alone, you'll never hear from them again. The IRS isn't one of those creditors, so just going into it, understand that you don't want to stick your head in the sand, ignore the IRS, or hope that the issue is going to go away, because it usually isn't. Of course, we've got tax time coming up next week, so
Monday,
the topic is timely for sure. Yeah. But it can be scary.
Well, that's what I think some people do. They see that they have a financial obligation to the IRS to pay their taxes, but they simply cannot make ends meet. So what they do is they say, well, maybe if I just don't say anything, they won't come after me.
Right.
Maybe they'll just forget that I owe them the money. But you say that's just not the case. They're going to find you.
Well, you may not hear from them for a little while, but eventually, someday, somewhere, it'll come back to bite you. And so the best way that you can deal with it is with a proactive approach. Understand what your options are. Choose the right option for you and move forward from there. Find a professional who can help you evaluate what your options are and select the best one.
And the worst thing is burying your head in the sand,
That's
because
right.
all it's going to happen is they're going to put
That's right.
interest, they're going to put all kinds of things on top of it, and it's going to cost you more, and no matter what, they're going to come after you. You guys give a free consultation
We
for
sure
that?
do. We do. We'll sit down with you for an hour, discuss your issues and problems with the IRS, and help you come up with some solutions, and we do all that for free. So give us a call, and we'll be happy to chat with you about it.
Free.
That's right.
Well, I think that's good because it's very convoluted, the tax code. I mean, it's very hard to comprehend if you ever open it up and you try to read it. It's just not like reading a crime story.
It's a good way to put yourself to sleep at night.
It is, exactly.
Right.
So to try to think that you can guide through yourself and figure out your options is very tough.
Exactly.
Very, very tough. So
well, and there used to be, the IRS did used to be a whole lot scarier. There was a time, 20 years ago when they were really difficult to deal with. Things have changed. The IRS is sort of a kinder, gentler agency than they used to be, and they really do offer people options. They really will work with you on getting your taxes paid. There are installment arrangements. You can offer, it's called an offer in compromise, where you offer them less than what you owe them because you really aren't able to pay the total amount. There's even a status where you're deemed uncollectible, temporarily uncollectible, where they really will not collect against you because you don't have the assets or you don't have the resources. They'll reevaluate that every year or every so often.
They just need to know.
Exactly, but the best thing you can do, exactly, that's the most important thing. And if you hire someone who can represent you with those issues, you don't have to do it yourself. Some people are scared to call the IRS. They don't want to do that. So if you have somebody that will do it for you, that takes the pressure off.
That's an important
and you
point.
have really, in one of the things that you've talked about here for people who are really struggling with financial difficulties, you say that people can protect themselves by filing for bankruptcy if they're having problems with the IRS. That's an option, obviously, if you really don't have enough money to make ends meet?
It's one of the tools in the toolbox that we have for dealing with these kind of issues. Certain kinds of tax debt from certain periods are actually fully dischargeable in bankruptcy. So it is possible that you could discharge the debt to the IRS in bankruptcy. Of course, there are, a number of hoops you have to jump through and qualifications you have to meet for that to be the case. Of course, if we don't know your situation, we can't tell you one way or the other. But there are also ways of paying your tax debt over time in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy that would avoid some of the negative consequences of tax debt, like things like levies, liens, garnishments, things that are really unpleasant. Sometimes we'll have people in our office who literally just had every dollar in their bank account seized by the IRS. And at that point, it's pretty hard to put things right. So the sooner you deal with the problem, the better.
And something you said, I think, that really struck a chord just a minute ago anyways, is when you bury your head in the sand, nothing happens.
That's
but
right.
People can come to you. That's very important. They don't have to communicate directly with the IRS. They can come to you. You guys can be the communicator for them.
Exactly. And sometimes that takes the pressure off. They're scared to death of dealing with that IRS agent. They think they're going to show up at their door and take everything they have. Well, if you designate us as your representative, then we can do all of that for you, and we'll let you know what we're able to accomplish.
And I'm sure some people are asking themselves the question right now, if I don't have the money to be able to pay the IRS, how am I going to have the money to be able to pay for an attorney?
Well, and that definitely does come up. again, what we can do with the IRS is arrange for installments, lesser payments that are due right now and more that are due later, and that way you can handle things like paying your lawyer and other important things that get you where you need to be.
And the great thing is the free consultation.
Right.
So at least
I was just going to say that, but then you can go in and at least find out where you're at and what
your options
situation.
are.
Sure, and if you come in and I tell you you don't need a lawyer, you know, you can do this yourself, then, you know, we're happy to give you some guidance in that regard as well.
Yeah, which is great. It's good to have an outlet, you know, someone
Yeah.
that you can just rely on. Lean on. Yeah.
Just to get some information, you know, it's about something you might not otherwise be educated about.
Okay. And where are you guys located, just for someone who might
We're
be
in the
watching?
San Marco area. We're at the corner of Hendricks and Emerson, right at the very corner there.
Okay. And if they want to do the free consultation, do they call? Is that the best way?
Sure.
Do they go to the website?
Absolutely. We're at www.jackslawyer.com, or our number is 404-3394.
Okay.
And you can set an appointment online as well?
You can. We do. We have you just ask for some more information. It'll get emailed directly to us, and we'll have somebody get back in touch with you to come in and see us.
Perfect. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thanks to Lady of the Law, Allison Emery, for advice, as well as Emery, Kast, and Walker for sponsoring the segment. And remember, they say the biggest mistake that you can make when you're facing financial hardship, they say, is to do nothing.
Bury your head in the sand. Not good. The legal team of Emery, Kast, and Walker understands what you're going through, and they're here to help good people in bad times. Visit their website at www.jackslawyer.com or call them at 904-404-3394 for a free consultation to find solutions to those problems.